Welcome to a ride down the Powwow Highway, and my name is Ryan Smolovich, and I will be the host tonight. Powwow Highway is a 1989 comedy-drama movie based on a novel by David Seals. Powwow Highway begins with Filbert Bono, played by Gary Farmer, buying a Buick Wildcat that he names Protector. He trades some marijuana, alcohol, and some money for the really rusted old car. Filbert is desperately trying to follow prophecy made by his people, and he is desperate to find the 4 tokens from the spirits. According to the prophecy, he must use his pony to find these 4 tokens that will appear to him from the gods. Meanwhile, Buddy Redbow, played by Adolfo Martinez III, an aggressive activist, finds out that his sister Bonnie, played by Joanelle Romero, was arrested for possessing 1 pound of marijuana. This is the appearance of a person versus society conflict, as Buddy Redbow is fighting against the police department that have accused his sister of wrongdoing. Buddy and Filbert thus decide to drive to Santa Fe to get Buddy's sister out of jail and help Bonnie's 2 young children. On the route, Filbert stops the car several times at certain native landmarks and collects what he believes to be tokens. When they finally reach Santa Fe jail, they meet up with Bonnie's best friend Rabbit, played by Amanda Weiss, who is also trying to get Bonnie out of jail. Filbert takes it into his own hands and attempts to save Bonnie and her 2 children. This is a film based on Cheyenne natives who do not follow the stereotypical lives that white people think they do. At the beginning of the film, Filbert is portrayed as the regular, ignorant native that lives a very poor life. Filbert only has marijuana, booze, and a few dollars. He is portrayed as an alcoholic Indian who has no money. Furthermore, Filbert plays the role of a stereotypical native, as he has a really beat-up res car and he has the long hair that a stereotypical Indian has. The other natives in the film do not follow the appearance of a stereotypical Indian, as they have modern clothing and they have decent cars and are not abusive of alcohol and drugs. In the film, we see how Filbert approaches a tribe elder, but the tribe elder just makes fun of him, as she does not believe that their history is important.
For good old Indian wisdom. I ain't got none.
This just further demonstrates how natives do not follow the stereotype that their history is everything to them, as we see that Filbert is the only native who cares about history. The soundtrack of the film adds a lot, as it gives the impression of nature. All of the soundtrack songs of the film include an aspect of nature or native culture in the title. As Filbert is daydreaming, the audience feels the impression that they are in the nature. The audience feels as if they are one with nature, and you feel as if you are running with the horses. The director gets the intended reaction from the audience, as the audience feels captivated by the nature. On several occasions, the soundtracks add understanding to the native culture and add understanding to the actions of the characters. As Filbert and Buddy begin their journey, a soft soundtrack is played in the background. It gives a western feel of happiness as they are traveling through the plains of upper United States, going to land they have never been to before. The camera work throughout the film is fairly consistent and did not leave the audience wanting more, as we always felt like we had the right view when we required it. There is a scene where Filbert is trying to break Bonnie out of jail, and there is an intense moment where the jail guard is coming to take Bonnie to the visitor area. The camera work is very good, as it switches from Bonnie to the jail guard and finally to Filbert. This is then followed by a sort of humorous soundtrack that plays in the background as the audience sees Filbert escape with Bonnie and her 2 children, as the police make comedic falls as they try to chase Filbert. The camera work in the scene is also exquisite, as we see all the right things at the right time. The main point that the film makes is that the native people are just like all the other people. The film has a stereotypical Indian in the form of Filbert, but all the other natives are just like any other average person that is not an alcoholic and has a normal family with normal length hair. This point is useful for ignorant people who do not understand that not all natives are alcoholics and plain Indians. Different native tribes have different cultures, and they are much more modernized than people may think. The film has a subplot that makes another interesting point. The point that is made is that white people will always attempt to take over the native land no matter what happens, as whites will always have the imperialistic attitude to take over whatever they can. This point is demonstrated by a subplot in which we see that the FBI are trying to scare off Buddy, who is an activist against setting up an oil pipeline and mine in the reservation. This message is useful because it is truthful and it should be directed toward the higher powers of these imperialistic countries. The United States is a country that uses much more resources than it can sustain, and is thus always on the lookout for more land to take advantage of. Overall, this film is a very good film that incorporates all the necessary components of a successful film. This is a film that is filled with action and always keeps you at the edge of your seat, as the loose cannon Buddy always commits crazy acts that cause others to react. This is a film that I would recommend to people above around 10 years old, as it has a bit of profanity, but it has many layers that could appeal to all ages. Thank you, and that is my movie review for Powwow Highway.